Hey everybody, welcome back to Just Keep Parenting. I've been MIA for the last couple of months. Just finishing up school and taking a couple vacations. So back online and excited to share some of the things that I've got going on in my brain for this summer. I spent some time with some nephews and nieces and great nephews and nieces in Texas a couple of weeks ago, and we were in the car traveling back from the beach on Memorial Day, and we were just kind of, some thinking maybe we would sleep, maybe we would whatever, and I'm like, let's play Inky Pinky. And they're like, Andrea, what's Inky Pinky? And so I got to share Inky Pinky with them, or Ink Pink, as some people may know it. Um, Thought about my grandmother Turley and how we used to sing in the car together. This particular nephew has 7 children, and so we were in this big Nissan van, and thinking that's one of my dearest memories of my grandmother is singing and starting to harmonize "You Are My Sunshine." So we played Ink Pink for a long time, and it was interesting because their kids range from age 4 to age 15 now, and obviously the little 4-year-old didn't play along, but the other kids played along, and some of them were very good at it, and some of them were like, wait a minute, how does that work? It takes a lot of brain power to play it. So ink pink is a rhyming word that you have to describe things with, right? So if I wanted you to say the words red bed because that rhymes, then I'm going to give you descriptive words. So I would say a colored sleeping device, and then you say red bed, and then it's your turn. And if it ends in a Y, then you call it an inky pinky. So like a sleepy beepy or something like that. Okay, so this has gotten me thinking about, as many of you might be going on road trips this summer, thinking about some of the ideas that my past teachers have come up with for road trips, right? For time in the car. And one of the first ones that I've been thinking about is just being silent, right? Mr. Rogers had a quote last week about, what do you do with the silence when you have silence, right? Are you afraid to be with yourself? Anyway, so turn the radio off, right? Turn the radio off first off and just visit, just talk, just notice, describe things, right? The other one is talk with the children about what they're seeing. So just recognizing we just finished up school and we had a big environmental print, logo language as some people refer to it. Just letter and number awareness, right? The kids were hilarious as they would bring in logo language. Or one child would stand up and say, Miss Story, I have on a logo today, right? And he had on a big Nike check mark. I'm wearing it on my shoes too. And so just that awareness of what's around them, recognizing that they can read, not conventionally, right? Most of them can't when they're younger, but that's one of the steps to reading is recognizing those things. I Spy with My Little Eye. Most of you are probably familiar with that and have played that, right? Inside the car or outside of the car with I Spy. The license plate game, how many states we can get. My nephew and his family were playing kind of like a version of Slug Bug, except when they saw something besides Texas, they would hit them. Louisiana, Arizona. And that was kind of a fun thing, right, to recognize because, gosh, there were a lot of cars from Texas in Texas. Imagine that, right? But I can remember when I would take my nephews and nieces to Arizona, I would print out, the nation, and they would color in when we saw a different state that we hadn't seen before. My sister used to play the license plate game using letters and numbers. So like double nines, triple Fs, right? And so when they saw doubles or triples, they called it out and kept the kids looking. And it was a fun thing. We also played something called Yellow Car with this same family, and I still look for yellow cars when we go on field trips with the teachers and the children. We talk about yellow cars, and yellow cars is you just call out yellow car because there's not very many yellow cars. I mean, you say there's not, and then all of a sudden there's lots of them, but it was just like yellow car, yellow truck, yellow motorcycle, anything with wheels, right? Any vehicle, I should say, we would call it out. Sing songs. You are my sunshine, right? There's a web, web, web. Sitting on the bed at the store, at the store. There's a web, web, web. Sitting on the bed at the quartermaster store. That's where I learned to harmonize, which I've said before, right? Singing. Count the cars on trains, right? If you've got one that's going parallel with you, right? Being able to count all the cars, or the cars in a line, right? If you're lined up, if you're passing cars. I'm thinking of something that starts with, or looks like, or reminds me of, right? So that description game. We talked about ink pink. Word plays, right? Rhymes or substituting phonemes. So Mackie, Zachy, seeing how many words we can come up with in that Aki family or in the Itty family, right? And trying to figure out, it kind of depends on the age of the child, but sometimes they're nonsense words, right? But they still fit within that family sound. I'm thinking of a word that rhymes with sat, right? And seeing if they can come up with that. Alphabet game, right? As you're looking around your surroundings, let's look for an A, right? And they have to say it's on the billboard, or it's in the license plate, and then we move on to B. The buses, right? How many buses are we counting? It depends on if there's a lot of buses or not. You could do 18-wheelers as well. A box of tinfoil, right? Just buy a box of tinfoil at the grocery store and just flip it out and give them a piece of tinfoil and see what they come up with. I remember being in a car and just thinking, oh my goodness, they're coming up with some boats, they're coming up with people, right? They can tear it, they can mold it, they can do lots of things with tinfoil. Pipe cleaners is another thing, right? Just have a bag of pipe cleaners that the kids can mold with and play with. Lots of things that you can make out of pipe cleaners. Obviously, books on tape or on Audible or the Kindle or whatever, but having books that your family can listen to. Having baggies, right, that you can just, if you're up front and you've got all the treats up front, sometimes it's hard to pass things back, but if you put something in a baggie and then throw it in the back, it doesn't get spilled. They have a baggie that they can give back up to you so that you can refill it, but baggies for snacks, right, that you can just throw in the back. Rotate out, right? So I noticed that when we were in Houston, I just loved how nobody ever said, okay, it's your turn to sit in the front, right? The 7 kids just kind of took care of that and said, I was in the front last time, so I'll sit in the back, or I was in the back, so I want to get in the front. I didn't ever see the parent or hear the parents regulating that. The kids just kind of took care of that. Obviously, the kids that were in car seats had to stay there, but the other kids just kind of rotated through that. So changing out every time we stop. A blank notebook, right, with post-it notes, with stickers, with tape and pencils and crayons, like those alphabet stick-on letters, any of those things that they can just play within their notebook. Cheap dollar store things that they can unwrap every hour, so they get a new little dollar store thing every hour, or maybe every time you stop or whatever. But being able to find some of those things that they can look forward to. New foods, right? For example, learning how to peel a cutie, right? If they have, probably most kids have had a cutie, but learning how to do those things, open those things up. Adding the highway signs, right? Adding them up, or finding patterns in the highway signs as you go down. And then having them have their own little travel bag and them choosing what to go in their travel bag so that they have some autonomy in what they're going to do on that road trip. So there's some ideas that we've kind of floated around in our family, and I've gotten from other families as I've been thinking about that and asking around for parents. So if you're going on a road trip this summer, have a great time, but it takes preparation to plan for it to have a great time. Thanks for joining us at Just Keep Parenting. And if you have tips that we can add to our list, please put them in the chat down, put them in the comment section down at the bottom of the video. Thanks, everybody. Make it a great evening.